Hello, everybody, and welcome to People in the Boxes. It is Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. This is episode 143. 143, almost coming up on 3 years of People in the Boxes. And this show, if you didn't know already, is all about bringing people together to share our experiences on topics that are fairly common. Sometimes they're difficult topics to talk about. Sometimes they're fun. It's everything in between. And tonight we are going to talk about ethics. It is May 8th, 2025, and this year has already gotten started off with many ups and downs. So we're going to get into it. Before we do, if you guys could share it out with some friends, hit that like button. I do appreciate it. We've got Kim with us, of course. Kim said she's been getting extra stuff done at home. That feels good, right?
Yeah, little small things that you I don't know, I have so much to do all the time, with everything that's going on in my life, and they're all big things. So a lot of the times the smaller stuff just kind of falls to the wayside because I just don't have enough energy or time or whatever.
I understand that. We got Red Six with us. Red
How's everybody doing
Six,
tonight?
what's up, man?
What's going on,
Good.
Red?
How you doing?
Peach Keen.
Yeah, old kitty in the background there.
I don't see it.
She was on the TV stand.
Oh, on the TV stand.
Yeah.
If cats
Was it the
could,
black and white one?
Yep.
That's Alan.
I always like that
Alan's
name as like for a little
Alan's
boy's name.
funny. He's funny. So he was the cat that I adopted in January. I saw him on one of the on the local animal shelter page,
Kayla.
and he was listed as a vicious cat. His owner had surrendered him because he was attacking all the animals in the house and he was attacking people. And I just had a feeling, like I don't know, I get feelings about things. And so I had this feeling, and I knew that if somebody didn't intervene, the cat would be euthanized pretty quick. So I went down and checked him out and said, okay, I'm going to adopt him.
Kayla.
And so we neutered him. You know, when you adopt from the shelter here, they automatically neuter everything or spay it.
Yeah.
So I adopted him. He got neutered. I brought him home, and they're having a hissing contest at each other right now because Baxter is sniffing his ass.
We didn't even talk about cats last week when it comes to stereotypes. Like black cats and
Yeah.
cats like taking the breath of kids. Like that's like a old wives' tale. Or remember the Stephen King movie?
Pet Cemetery.
Well, there's that, but there's another movie where like there's a myth that like the cats are like will come to like will suffocate a baby because they will like take its breath, but really that's because they come in like they want to sit by your head, and they end up suffocating. But there was a whole movie about it where the cat was actually protecting the family from this like little gnome creature looking guy. I forget what it was. Cat's Eye, was that it? Kayla, okay. Queen Mandy, what's
turn,
up? Cheers.
turn your
Um,
volume up a little bit, Waylon.
hmm.
And the audio controls are turned way down too.
Okay, I'm gonna turn you guys down just a little bit because the max is usually too much.
Yeah.
Okay, that works. Let me throw you the moderator too if you want to throw any comments up or anything. Um,
Um,
but yeah, that was a whole thing in the movie. But it is like it's an old, I don't know if a wives' tale is the right way to say it, but it's like an old,
Superstition or something.
yeah, yep, that's it. But yeah, this actually is a connection here between the two topics, between stereotypes and ethics. There's a lot of ethics involved with animals and handling with animals and dogs and cats and pets. Like, do we? And first of all, we need to look up the terms so that we're on the right page here, because once we do, I think I have a sneaking suspicion about something. I will just say. and I'll just say it as I'm looking this up here. The ethics behind having a pet, like you have this animal sort of in, enslaved to you and trained and sort of not allowed to be free. I don't know if that actually has a connection, but we'll see. Ethics definition, Encyclopedia Britannica. There's no AI here for this one. Huh, interesting. The discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad or morally right and wrong. The term is also applied to any system or theory of moral values or principles. Okay. So if it's applied to a system or theory, that doesn't mean that it's general morality. It's sometimes it can be applied directly to a specific thing, sort of like ethics within a company or within sports or something. How shall we live? Shall we aim at happiness or at knowledge, virtue, or the creation of beautiful objects? Interesting. So there's a lot to this here. Ethics deal with such questions as at all levels. Its subject consists of the fundamental issues of practical decision making, and its major concerns include the nature of ultimate value and standards by which human actions can be judged right or wrong. So this kind of touches on religion a little bit because there have been a lot of people in recent years that try to create a construct of morality without using God or without using religion. They try to sort of justify or uh, you know speak of morality as if it can be separate from religion. I wonder what you guys think. Oh, what is going on with my whoa?
What the?
Oh, it's the puppy laying on my keyboard. Sprout, get your tiny, tiny, little, tiny head off of that.
How
There's a
big's he
lot,
gonna get?
bro. I don't know. I mean, it's really hit or miss with Pomeranian with these small breeds now because not everybody breeds them for them to get smaller and smaller, and so like
Yeah.
the same litter can have you know puppies that are the same size end up at way different sizes as adults. I know it's a lot of words just to say I don't know, but he could end up staying pretty small. Wow, this went way down. It's a lot to talk about ethics. St. Augustine.
I was gonna
Nope,
say,
don't
is
lay
he
on that,
a pope?
please. Thank you. What's that?
I look like a pope.
I heard we have a new pope. I heard
Yep, he's an
people were
American.
tweeting woke pope. I don't know anything about him though. So what is ethics? The term ethics may refer to the philosophical study of the concerns of moral. Okay. So all right. So that's what I thought. So ethics aren't like a here's what to do and here's what not to do. Ethics is the thought process or the act
Those
of
are those are morals and values, aren't they?
right. And so this is sort of the thought process in which you decide whether an action has morals or values and if those are good or
Good or bad.
bad. And I went to look. I hate to use this phraseology, but I studied philosophy in college. I hate to even bring it up, but I did, and I like philosophy. But now that makes me an expert because I said that. So anything I say after that has to be correct. No, but no, it was a fun subject, but it gets so convoluted. I don't know if any of you guys out there watching have studied philosophy in any way. It's intense, man, because it even sometimes it was pushing me outside the bounds of what I thought was logical, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. At times, man, it was just a little bit thick. And at the end, we had this like verbal. It was a oral test at the end, right? Oral exam. That's it.
Isn't there like a code of ethics?
Yeah, yeah. That would be like your personal code of ethics. So we could check that out. See code of ethics. read the Code of Ethics. It's a book called Code of Ethics. I don't know if this is necessarily.
Huh.
I don't think this is what the term means. In fact, we could go over to Grok. Let's go to Grok. Is this Grok here? No, that's my profile. Hello, profile. All right, let's go to Grok. What is a code of ethics? Code of ethics is a set of guidelines or principles designed to help professionals or organizations make decisions and conduct themselves in a morally responsible way. It outlines expected behaviors, values, and standards for addressing ethical dilemmas, often covering areas like honesty, integrity, fairness, and respect. Typically, it serves as a framework to ensure our accountability and trust within a group of profession. For example, a medical code of ethics might emphasize patient confidentiality and care, while a business code of ethics on transparency and fair trade practices. Yeah, so it's kind of just like your company's or your personal code. And that could be like, someone who's evil might have a code of ethics that's just, kill or be killed, survival of the fittest, all these sort of, what's the other term where natural selection, Interesting.
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa May, what's up? Got the link out over on the Rumble. If you want to pop up for a bit, you're welcome. Anybody that wants to come up, I got the link out there. If you're watching on X, you want to come find us on Rumble because the comments are messed up over there. It's somehow set to where you have to be a verified member to comment in the live chat. You can comment underneath, but anyway, regardless, let's see. In relation to work ethic. So Kim brought this up by offering work ethic as the topic. And I thought, well, that's one part of ethics for sure, but it's a sort of a different meaning of the word. But we could, broaden it to all ethics. And so it says a code of ethics in relation to work ethic defines the moral principle guiding professional behavior and responsibilities in the workplace. So when you say, do you have a good work ethic? We have a general, I think our colloquial term would be like, if you work hard, right, Kim? Like work ethic, like if you work hard and you're, on time, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that there's.
Like the colloquial, like the
I
average
think
term.
that there's
Being
character
diligent about
traits.
your tasks.
I think there's character traits that go along with work ethic. So, like integrity. Um, I can't think of what are the characteristics of good character. Like being trustworthy, honest, having integrity. Honesty, integrity, courage, responsibility, respect, and compassion. These traits reflect ethical behavior, strong moral principles, and concern for others. So
So, go ahead.
I've just, like it's as a teacher, I've over the last, I don't know, at least 10 years, it's just been noticing how the work ethic in these kids is atrocious. They're lazy. They don't want to do the work. They want somebody to do it for them. They rely on instead of,
Like Tanya, Joseph.
huh?
I was saying hi to people in the comments.
Oh,
Tanya, what's up?
they're lazy. They don't want to do the work. They want to take the easy way or whatever.
Well,
And
is that always lazy? Sometimes it's just smart if they think they can get you to do it for them, right?
it's lazy.
So one thing that used to bother me, kind of talking about that, is kids and like my kids are one's in high school now, one's out, and one thing that kind of bothered me is they have figured out how much homework they've got to do just to pass the class, and that's it. But at the same time, the way the high school credits and stuff work, whether you get a D or an A, you get the same credit. You graduate with the same diploma with everyone else. You are equal. So, is that laziness or is that smart?
Well, you're cheating your first of all, you're cheating yourself out of your education. So,
I mean, just because you're not getting good grades doesn't mean that you're not there actively learning.
Yeah, the grading system can be a little bit wonky because sometimes there's kids that are just not good at testing, and there's certain curricula that are just like built around the way that a kid can test out. Wouldn't you say that you can't? There's not how much of your teaching is your opinion of the student, and how much of it is whether they can fill out paperwork the right way or with the right comprehension.
Mm.
Comprehension is a big thing, right?
I
Obviously, that's a
think
big
I
thing, but
think teachers pretty well teach the same across the board, whether a student's willing to learn or not. I don't see most teachers adjusting in a
you
basic
can't.
classroom. No. Now,
There's
if
no
you're
there's no room
in
for it.
special ed or something like that, like Kim is, yeah, I can definitely
Well, I
see
guess you have to there.
you making adjustments to more meet the student than meet the criteria type of stuff.
Well, what do you think, Kim?
your work demonstrates your knowledge, and if you don't show your work, then you're not demonstrating your knowledge, and a teacher doesn't have any way to determine your learning, your depth of learning.
Yeah.
But we're talking about ethics here, and so is it? And this might be a stretch, but is it morally right to label someone as I guess less than because their GPA is lower when they might excel? They might be incredible at one thing or whatever that is. They might be really smart, but they might just be really bad at school, like distracted. And like me, I had focus issues, distracted with everybody, and I got just got by C pluses, B's, just got through there by just me comprehending and not having to study very much because I didn't, and that was I don't know whose failure it is really. I wouldn't say I was lazy, but I definitely wasn't interested in what was being talked about. But what I'm saying though is on a bigger picture, I've always talked about this before. I wish we could come up with a way to using AI. Probably we can to find out how a kid learns best, each individual kid, and say what like so red to your point, Red Six, we can't change how we teach each kid, but what if we were able to categorize them a little bit better, as in like here's all the kids that can't learn by sitting down and paying attention, they have to be like up and at them doing something. Here's all the kids that just love to read. Here's all, like maybe we could find a way to group them better, a little bit better eventually. Maybe that's, I'm sure there are ways that they try to do that now, but who knows? Maybe we
Well,
can get
that's why
better.
you have teachers that have learned how to teach multi use multimodal ways of instruction, where
Right.
you know you have kids up out of their seats being interactive, where you have, instead of writing an essay or whatever, you have them create a poster of the ideas that you want them to learn and inculcate. You know,
he just loves to just show it, like he's a voyeur. Is that what they call it? He's a voyeur. He likes to be, he's a nudist. He
I'm gonna
wants you to
start
see it.
calling him Johnny.
He just wants you to see it. He every time he lays down, he wants to lay it where you guys get to see it. It's funny.
well, I
Um,
was like, what are you talking about?
we're going to be being donged again on the show. It's
Mhm.
sad this time by this little man. He's so out of it. Oh, he does have a little, like, gets a little goopiness in his eyes already. I'm like, that's not good. That's not a good sign for a
Probably
little guy.
allergies.
Yeah,
It's
I think
that
it
time
is.
of the year.
Yep, I have allergies. Maybe it's fight like father like son. You know what I mean?
But what prompted me to say that is just like I've had hell. trying to get people to pay them to come do work.
To pay
So
for your house, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, like these different things. Like this guy, I was going to pay him what he quoted me to put up this patio cover. And it's just been like hell getting him over here to do anything. I'm done. Like, I'm going to get somebody else because I'm done. But it's like, it just, I don't know. And, you know, not to say that everybody's this way, but one of the reasons why places don't like hiring people that have dropped out is because when you drop out of school, it signifies there's a problem there with your ethic, that you
Right.
don't have the stick to itiveness and you're going to be all over the place and you're not going to be able to hold the employment.
it's a responsibility thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the trades, I should like your lower level people especially, they have a hell of a time. These contractors have a hell of a time finding reliable people to work that you can depend on.
Oh yeah, like it's isn't it a it's a pretty big like trope that like painters and construction workers are gonna get drunk all day, and like the whole like stereotype, I guess, like from last
Laborers,
week. But what's
yeah,
that? Yeah.
laborers, they drink a lot.
Yep. And it's like that's a well-known industry for unethical behavior too, where they will do half-ass job, they'll spend all your money before and then leave the job site high and dry. We've had multiple reality shows where they go and like track down the unethical construction companies. There was one show like that I remember. I don't remember what it was called, but where they would like track them down because these guys would build these like sort of shell construction companies, and all you need is a few people to go on to Google and give you a good review. You get like a little crew of people to be able to go on and just throw up good review, and people sometimes don't look past it and see that, oh, there's only 4 reviews, they're all 5 stars. There's a problem here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's a tough one. Like,
I don't read the good reviews. I like reading the bad reviews. Like when I go on Amazon and I want to buy a certain thing,
I do that too.
I look at the bad reviews, what the hell people are saying, because I feel like those are more honest.
well, what if there's no bad reviews, or if there's it's more believable if there's only a few, but there's like 100 good reviews.
I tend to listen to like the 2, 3, 4 star reviews more than the ones or the fives.
Hmm,
Yeah. Well,
that's a
I
good
look at all
idea.
of them. And if it doesn't give a good review of something, then I look at other sources for reviews. Like I'll Google, like if I'm going to buy a washing machine, I won't touch LG and I won't touch Samsung. I will never buy any of their products because trying to get parts for them or customer service for either of those is like a nightmare. A lot of people have had, and those are really expensive machines. So I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that when I'm going to spend my money, like I don't want to waste it. So I look at a lot of different sources, and I don't necessarily make a decision really quick. Like I take my time and when I do that.
All right, I'm putting everybody on the wheel that comes in to comment. You can stay or not, I don't care, but you'll have to be here to win. Lisa was in here. Who else? Red Six and Kim. Okay, so I did pull up a little similar thing to what you were saying earlier. A good work ethic is characterized by traits that reflect dedication, responsibility, and professionalism in the workplace. These include reliability, consistently meeting deadlines, showing up on time, and fulfilling commitments. Integrity, acting honestly, adhering to ethical standards. So they're using ethical standards inside here, and taking responsibility for actions. Yeah, responsibility, like Red Six was saying. Diligence, putting in or a sustained effort, paying attention to detail, and striving for quality in work. I try these things, but I make lots of mistakes that don't seem to be my fault. Technology, initiative, proactively tackling tasks, seeking improvement, and solving problems without needing constant direction. Professionalism, maintaining a respectful, positive attitude, even under pressure, and communicating effectively. I'm glad reading smoothly isn't on here, but you know what I mean. Adaptability, embracing change, learning new skills. Hey, that wasn't supposed to be funny. And adjusting to evolving work demands. Teamwork, collaborating effectively, supporting colleagues, and contributing to shared goals. Wow. I feel like there's not a lot of this work ethic on social media. These traits align with the code of ethics by reinforcing accountability and trust, ensuring individual efforts uphold organizational values, and fostering a protective workplace. Okay, well, I like it, but how many of us have worked at a place where you just knew they were doing some unethical shit? And on top of that, what's really funny is when you work at a bigger company, they do stuff all the time that makes no sense, that actually loses them money, and it's because like within the mechanism there's someone like this hand doesn't talk to this hand, and they don't care because they're paid for a job. They're not paid for like looking at where they could save money or make extra money. And I'll give you an example. I started working, so I worked at a local hospital. I worked at a few different departments, and then I moved within the company to this warehouse where they were going to start storing and shipping out from this warehouse to all of their different hospital locations around the state. It was like a new undertaking. They hadn't done it before. And so I don't know if you ever worked at a warehouse, Red Six,
Um,
forklifts and stuff.
I've run a forklift, but I've never really worked at a warehouse.
I've done it a few times now, and so I'm like, that's like one of those things that you go back to because you have a little bit of knowledge of it, or a little bit you remember how to do the things. I actually really enjoy forklift work too, but most of the time I was doing pallet jack work, these electric pallet jacks. Um, anyway, so go into this situation where everybody started at the same time. You ever worked at a place where the management and all the employees at every level started at the same time? That's a weird situation, man, because there's no the hierarchy and like the built-in respect that you kind of have when you first start at a company and you're working for this boss that's been there a while versus someone that started the same day as you, and you're going, well, this guy's an idiot and he's going to be my boss. Like, what does he do? Like, why is he doing that? Why is he wrapping the pallet inside the pallet with the pallet jack? Why is he doing that? Wait, how come he can't put a trash can in the trash bag? This one manager, he puts the trash bag in there and then he just lets it go and it just sinks down in there and he walks away. What do you like? You don't know how to just like this common sense stuff, right? But then there was definitely unethical stuff. It was like whoever kissed their ass the most that would get the promotion. All the
Oh
very
yeah.
common stuff. Another example of this is a different example, but family-owned businesses. Working for a family-owned business when you're not part of the family, bro. Like, talk about ethics. Like, I remember this one
0 out
place.
of 10. Do not recommend.
Yes, you go like the family that members that don't even work at the place will just pop in once in a while and take shit, pick shit up and
No,
take it
look.
with them.
Your
It's
first
funny.
sign is look to see if more than one person that owns the business in the family works there. If there's no one else in the family that works there, run.
Yes, that's actually a good point.
Like if they're not even willing to work for their own family, you probably shouldn't be either. Just
or
my
if like, or if you start seeing employees that were uh, that are part of the family, but they're fired and rehired over and over, or stealing from the company. Like, man, I worked at a wholesale distribution company, and the family members would just come in and steal from it all the time, and so the employees all started stealing from it. Of course, that company's not around anymore, so It is what it is. Guys, if you haven't commented yet, I'll put you on this wheel for the door prize. Don't want to leave it up like this though. I might do something else, like put it up on my screen. Anyway, I think it's so the lines are so blurred on social media or on the internet in general. What's ethical? When you
Well,
look
every
at
profession has ethics that drive it, though. It's
right,
like
but
teachers have a particular code of ethics.
it
Like
would be
look at code of ethics for a teacher versus like somebody in the medical profession. It's going to look different.
You're only pulling names from Rumble, right?
nope. I'm pulling them all. I'm putting them all
Okay.
on there
Never mind.
just to see if it. I'm not going out of my way to beg people to come and hang out, but I will put you all on a wheel as you pop in. I see.
I was just going to tell a couple people over on Facebook.
Do it. That's where more people are watching right now for some reason. I just obliterated my Rumble audience by switching shifts or switching schedules, but hey, I had to do it. Probably shouldn't have done it until after this month because of the Rumble Creator Program. But you know what? That's pennies compared to me getting my business off the ground. So I've been putting more time into that. I just have to get my my packaging done, and that goes right in the topic when it comes to ethics, putting ingredients or putting accurate information on packaging labels. Look at this. He turned around again. That's such a big thing, and I worry about it because I'm like, well, this is food, but there shouldn't be many ingredients really because I'm not listing the stuff I used to grow it. I'm listing just what's in the container, which would be microgreens, whatever that is. Like purple kohlrabi is the one that I was growing pretty successfully last few weeks. That one was probably my favorite, just because it was it looked more like like a carpet, like a green, like a carpet of grass, kind of just like it's supposed to be. The rest of them were hard to do that. So I need to make this a little more visible. So yeah, so the ethics on I was trying to get into the internet, and it kind of more broadly to your point, Kim. Most professions or most companies are going to have a code of ethics, but when there's more and more people working for themselves in the gig economy, in the Uber and DoorDash and all these things, it's kind of like every man for themselves. Your code of ethics is yours. Yeah, if you work for Uber, you have to. It is a company, but at the same time, you're looked at as like a contractor, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're a contractor, then you get a little more, not necessarily freedom, but more responsibility, because it's, if you do something, I don't think that you can sue Uber if, like, say, an Uber driver murdered someone. I'm pretty sure there's a disconnection there because of the contractor label. But it's a weird thing because now everyone has to come up with their own. I mean, I guess everyone should have their own code of ethics, right? You shouldn't just
Well, you
blindly
can't
do what
carte
company.
blanche apply a code of ethics across the board to everybody. They're different according to
Margaret, I see.
what you do.
Well, you're right, but at the same time, it's different because each person is different. So you could have a murderer with a code of ethics, or a gangster, or
Yeah,
whatever
but your
bad
code
guy.
of ethics for somebody in the medical profession is going to be different than for somebody in the
Right?
teaching
We
profession.
Like
we were
Dexter.
reading.
Old Dexter's got a pretty good code of ethics, doesn't he?
That came back out. I never watched the first. I watched a tiny bit of the first one,
Yeah.
and it kind of passed me up. And I just was like, it's one of those things where I don't like to go back and watch this popular series. Hi, Margaret. I got you on the wheel.
I never watched any of the new one. I've seen all the old.
Oh, you did see the old ones?
Oh
There's I don't know if it's a movie or something, but it looks like the story of Jeffrey Dahmer in prison, or maybe it's a different story. I just saw an advertisement of it, and the guy was like, "Did you really eat the people? Did you really eat them?" And they're arguing inside a prison, and he's like, "Yes." And it's I forget what the guy's name is, but anyway, new movie coming out. Nobody, what's up, Kayla? I got you. Oh hey Perry, got you. Margaret again. I'll give you guys a spot for each place that comes up on the comments. What do you do when you see someone else doing something that you think is unethical? You think, well, you know, let God sort it out.
Yeah, anymore in life, pretty well. It depends. Depends.
Well,
Like
if go
if they're
ahead.
not harming somebody else, you know what I mean? Then yeah, by all means, go about your business. But now, obviously, if I walk up on a kid being kidnapped or something like that, yes, I'm gonna intervene.
Right. So there's like a spectrum of ethical or unethical behavior. Obviously, there's anything from something that you think is just a little shady
Yeah,
to,
somebody egging a house or TPing a tree,
right.
maybe we might just let that slide. I might even throw the roll up in the tree once myself. I don't know, but
Well, to keep it, or well, not to keep it, but to, I keep thinking of social media when I come up with this is that I see people that just steal posts all the time. And while granted, some of them aren't quote influencers or content creators or whatever, so maybe they're not making money on it. But it just still feels like, you know, shady to me. And it's not like I'm not like I don't have like Superman's code of ethics where I'm just like I have to stop them. But it makes me think a certain way about that person. And I'm sure there's things that I do that other people might look at and be like, well, I don't like that. Or, especially when you talk about people who are not in the cannabis world or don't use cannabis and they're looking at me going, oh, he thinks he can have a regular show. He's just a weed guy. I'm not, but I'm not, I don't even have, most cannabis people would say that I'm not because I don't grow like tons of cannabis like a lot of people. But it is just the perception that sometimes can make you feel that somebody's unethical, even if you haven't walked in their shoes. It's the same story. Everybody's life is different. Just like the thief, a thief, just like Ocasio Cortez says, they just needed bread. They just want bread. That's why they steal. That's why they steal. They just need some bread. Elisa May, what's up?
What's up?
Where are you at? In a booth? Oh, you're at the booth at home. Yeah, yeah. I always wanted my own booth at home. That's pretty cool. Oh, hey Perry, I'm gonna throw you on here twice, and Elisa, I'll put you on again.
I think it came from Red Lobster or something. Some guy bought it and he put it on Facebook. And I bought it for Dill because it's easier for him to sit in.
Yeah,
So he's
I
not jumping up and down in a chair.
I I have a table that's kind of tall and chairs that came from Big Al's.
Nice.
you
What's
know, you
big
know.
owl? What's big owls?
Well, I don't know if it came from the strip club, but Big
Oh,
Al was a guy that owned a whole bunch of clubs and bars. And when he died, like most people only knew of like the strip club that he owned, but all these other clubs because it was called Big Al's. But then all these other places he owned, I guess too, and they had this estate sale. His kids had this estate sale, and we went there and checked it out. Man, there was a stretch golf cart. It had like I think it was like 12 rows of seating, or maybe it was 8, and there's like 2 seats in each row, and yeah, stretch golf cart. Could you imagine? It's like, oh, we got stuck on a hill again. Gotta get out of the bush, man. Yeah, he had a lot of stuff, like all the all the beer glasses and mugs and shot glasses you could think of, and yeah, and all been tainted by some strippers. But then it did
like
some good
tainted
for,
by the taint, or
possibly,
could be.
like literally tainted, painted, but never mind. Okay, so speaking of ethics, a lot of people look down on the profession of lady of the night, but that's like one of the oldest professions in the world. They say.
Yeah.
Do we think we could ever actually get rid of that eventually in the
No,
future? Do you think in the future there'll be pimps that pimp out their robots, their sex robots? They won't need a woman. They'll be
probably,
like, here, you can rent
It
my
probably
robot.
already is.
You can rent
probably.
it.
Anything to make money.
Right. Well, the one guy, like if it's like $5,000 or something, and then he's got to pay for it somehow, so he's got to rent it out to his buddies. Put a little put a quarter thing on it. You know.
Robots are just the same as a vibrator or whatever.
No, not if you have like a full body of silicone,
They're still the
and
same. It's still the same thing. It's a sex toy,
there's more sensory apparatus.
perhaps, but it's still a sex toy. It's an advanced sex toy.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
would
seen
just
that
be, that would be gross renting it out though. It's like, ugh, I don't know. That just grosses me out. The thought of,
2-for-1 special.
well, yeah, but like,
You just have an insert. They just have a different. You just take the
No
insert
different
out.
than women on the street.
That's true.
well, maybe so. I don't know, but like, you know, things get absorbed into that material.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can change out the whole socket, Kim. You can't do that on a woman.
People suck it.
The whole socket, yeah. You just like a light socket, pull it out, put the new insert in. Kind of like those vacuums, the vacuums that have the bags. Remember the old style vacuums? You put a bag in
Yeah.
it. Yeah, put a new bag in.
I wonder what a male one of those would be like.
That's what I'm saying.
Did
That's
you
where you
hear
change
me?
out the socket.
Did you hear me?
A like male sex robot.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for women? Well, they
Yeah.
have one. They have
Or for
one
gay
that
men.
it doesn't have like the man's body, but that thing is a literal machine that's hooked up to the wall, so it's solid, and that machine just does like the John Henry pounding in the railroad spikes all day long, man. Like you, I don't imagine it being a fun time, but evidently it is a thing. There's a bunch of those things already, but now they're just becoming more human, more realistic, I guess, with like a woman's head on it and everything. And like Japan, they have these crazy fembots. Yeah.
Hey, it's a lonely world.
Well, right.
Well,
So, do we
guess
think
that
that?
solves abortions.
Yeah. What if that becomes our way of having children? It's like we don't have direct intercourse anymore. You you and your partner share the same sex robot. So the male uses it, and then it maintains his sample inside, and then it uses it on the woman, and then impregnates her.
Gross.
I don't know though. That's less bodily fluids touching each other, less disease. Is it?
Gross.
I mean, I I don't know. Like just think about the movie Demolition Man, where he gets frozen in the future. They no longer have sex. They put these helmets on, and they have like mental sex. And I'm like, well, how do you have the babies? But they just do like insemination or whatever. Now, speaking of ethics, though, like, do you guys think that it's ethical? We barely touched about prostitution, but that it's along the same lines of like of having in vitro, is that a surgery, or having kids through in vitro, or having implanted eggs and then all that stuff, like women that will rent, basically more or less rent their uterus out. And we have two women here, luckily. Tell me what you think about the ethics of that. Do you think, you know, renting your body is the same between renting it to have a baby and renting it for someone's pleasure? Like, you're basically still renting your body either way, right? Yeah.
I find it disgusting, but to each their own.
Yeah, it's not anything that I would want to do. Like, I hated being pregnant. I never wanted to have my own children because, I don't know, it just never appealed to me to be pregnant. And then when I was pregnant, I was sick the whole time. And I don't know, I had a lot of stuff go on with my pregnancy. So I would not enjoy doing something like that myself.
I think they get like, I want to say 10 grand or 30 grand. I can't remember.
Yeah,
To be
it
honest.
is a lot of money.
I know they get quite a bit. I just can't remember if it's 10 or 30. I know that's a big difference, but it's
I
okay.
do
Well,
think it
no,
is like 20,
I'm
30 grand.
I'm not against it because there are a lot of people out there that cannot have kids on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my sister wanted more kids. Why is my computer's about to die and I don't know why it's not charging.
Margaret and
Um,
Tanya. Go ahead.
my sister, both of my two of my sisters, couldn't, like they had, like my sister Cindy had, she had a hell of a time getting pregnant. Her fallopian tubes were not open; they were like smashed together, and she had surgeries trying to um, to open them up so that she could get pregnant. And so she finally did get pregnant, and she ended up having to have an emergency surgery at the end of her pregnancy where she ended up losing her uterus and everything, and she was never able to have kids again herself. That was back in the 70s. And then my other sister had a lot of like physical problems with her uterus and stuff, and she ended up in her 40s having, she had endometriosis, but she was never able to get pregnant again. And both of them wanted more kids, but they weren't ever able to have them, you know, and stuff like that didn't exist back in the 70s. You know, there were no options really.
Well, and that's sad, but it's really hard to say whether. And I keep thinking of God here with like, if a woman wanted to have kids really bad, but the only way they could have kids was to do this, that's the conundrum there. It's like, do we want them to have kids, or is there something natural saying that maybe certain people aren't supposed to have kids? I don't know, and I don't mean to be I don't mean to be uh, insensitive to anyone that maybe fits that bill, but it's a tough one because we don't really know that much. I know that there's something different when you're doing that versus natural birth, just like a cesarean birth. My son was born with cesarean, and that's not really natural, but they found a way to do it, to make it happen. And it's kind of strange how like kids are living way more kids are living that should not or would not have lived, a few years ago. And are we
Well,
playing?
that's, you could make that argument for all kinds of health stuff, like
That's what I
curing,
mean.
trying to
All
cure
those.
cancer or treating cancer or whatever. I don't know. I don't.
Is it
I'm not
ethical for us
against.
to? Okay, you're not against. Yeah,
I don't.
I
I
don't.
don't.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think that there's a problem with any of that
Some
personally.
religions do. I don't know. I can't
No,
think of the ones
some
that
religions
do.
have problems with all kinds of stuff, you know.
Like
But is it
no
biblical?
doctors and right,
Is it biblical?
right. But see, they would think so, and that's the problem with having so many different religions. Like I have my own sort of code of ethics when it comes to my morality and my divinity, or my connection with a higher power that I personally have cultivated myself. And so to me, it's like it's going to be hard, and especially people that are atheists that want to talk about morality. Like how do you get morality out of that? But then at the same time, you can talk to two different Christians, and their morality can be totally different. It's this is a sort of a thinking exercise of ethics. Ethics is just the act of deciding and for yourself. There is a sort of a common ground though, right? Like, and it may not necessarily have to be the Bible, but most people want to see other people treat them the way that they would treat other people. And that even goes with like for like bullies. Sometimes a bully just wants people to push back to them, you know, but then they just crush people because no one wants to stand up or whatever to them. and that's maybe just their personal code of ethics. Like if someone can't put me in my place, then I'm going to put everybody else in their place. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, ethics have a moral foundation to them.
Yeah,
And
but
the
not
problem
everyone's
is
morals are the
that
same.
we've moved away from religion. You know, we're not a strongly religious society as we once were.
It's actually they're saying Gen Z is moving a little bit, moving back towards religion. I don't know if that's a big enough amount to make a difference, but let me put it to you this way: the moral ethics of the United States is going to be a whole different thing than the moral ethics of, say, Iran or whatever.
Well,
So
yeah,
so it's not a universal morals
no.
is not universal. It's like each.
Well, here in the United States, we have a puritanical influence here. So, if you were to even compare the United States to European Christians, you know, especially the French, European Christians are their morality is much different than what that of the United States is because we have the Puritan influence here. This country was founded by Puritans.
Yeah, some of it is your culture and how you were raised too.
It's funny how morality can contradict with survival. There are points where us being good and moral and altruistic or whatever will be our downfall, will be our demise by being too nice to people who want to destroy us. That's a good example.
Yeah, that's
Um,
not morality, though.
but it butts into your morals. If you see yourself as a good person and you maybe you're not purposely virtue signaling, but you want you know someone that maybe a person who's a little suspect, whatever that might be. You want them to think you're a nice person, so you extend that you know courtesy, and then they take advantage of you, and that's how a lot of that happens on a country scale too, not just on a person to person scale. But my point is, like, a good person who is morally good will get can get taken advantage of. But when you bring it back to religion, the whole point is like, well, I may have gotten taken or may have gotten stolen from or whatever, but in the long run, karma will take care of it, or God will judge this person, and they didn't actually get away with it. They just maybe until Judgment Day or something like that. So it's tough to say they actually got like taken or gotten. It's hard to say if someone has faith that the wicked will get judged or get their just desserts or whatever, get the justice that they deserve. Um, then I guess maybe you never really got harmed in the first place because you're a morally true, just Ned Flanders type of person, right? So Ned Flanders gets carjacked. Did he get harmed? Did something bad happen to him, or is it just God's will and he's and it depends on the person, on what you believe, right? And so I guess I'm contradicting my original statement where I think good people a lot of times get screwed over, basically in less and fewer words. I think good people get screwed over, but if you have faith and if you're somebody who thinks in the long run that works itself out in the universe, I don't know. That's a tough one. Having faith is hard, but it sometimes gives you a lot of comfort in that respect. Like
Well,
someone
the
just
thing
screwed me
is
over.
that having faith doesn't mean that you're a pushover. Having faith means that you're a shepherd.
Well,
You
giving
know,
someone the benefit of the doubt can screw you over a lot of times.
yeah, but you have to be a good steward with stuff. You know, it goes back. There's that whole story of the talents. You know, and different things. There's different parables in the Bible that talk about things like that. You know, you're given
Tell us
gifts.
one.
Well, it's
Tell me about it.
it's just like a pastor of a church is like a shepherd. Think about the job of a
Right.
shepherd is to protect your flock. You know, we have to protect each other. It's not a passive thing. You got to do what you
True.
got to do to protect the flock. But
Well, but that's my point, though. On a more national scale, you have these people who are so afraid of anyone who thinks of themselves as a nationalist first, or a person who cares about their own country before they care about other countries. That is the result of people, like you said, being assertive in their beliefs and also standing up for themselves,
Yeah,
and
but
that's a
you
problem.
you can't apply those two together because being a nationalist, me first kind of a thing, that doesn't go with Christianity.
That's why I'm telling you the morals butt into your survivability.
Yeah.
If you
But at
say
the same time, you have to be a good steward with stuff. You don't just go out and make stupid decisions and say, oh, well, just fuck me because I'm just this kind, sweet person. It doesn't work like that.
we've
I
been doing
mean,
that for a long time, letting people screw us on you know on what's the term, on our economic, there's a term I can't think of, damn it, shipping goods and services, you know and that connects to the tariffs. Along there's a lot of countries have had tariffs on us for a long time. Namely, China had like 400% or 100%, I can't remember what it was, but just this an ungodly number, and we have a zero on our side. That is us bending over for our quote Christian values and just being too nice to other people. And so the
that
second
wasn't
we
Christian value. That didn't have anything to do with Christian values.
us screwing ourselves over, well, yeah, it's probably the uniparty just trying to redistribute our wealth outside the country
No,
for many years now.
there's different agendas. You can't blame it on any one single party because this trade crap has been going on since, you know, I don't
Trade,
know,
that's it.
since at least the 50s.
Well, when we first got rid of tariffs, is when they implemented the income tax, which is a flip from charging other countries to charging ourselves, which is a redistribution of wealth, and that happened all at one time and not a over time. Yes, it's been a long time since then, and they could have made
I don't
corrections.
think they did it to redistribute wealth. I think they did it as a means of opening trade. It's more of a capitalistic kind of a thing rather than redistribution of wealth. It benefits everybody to be able to have trade.
Yeah,
It's
but it
like a
benefits
modern
only.
day Silk Road kind of a concept.
Right, but you're telling me that it's better for the government to tax us to death than to just use our trade to actually make up that difference to pay for our roads and our military like we did before?
Well, we're going to pay for shit one way or the other. We're either going to pay for it in taxes or we're going to pay for it in higher prices for goods. We're getting
Unless we
ready to find
manufacture
that
more.
lesson out here pretty damn quick.
Yeah, but it won't last long. I mean, we
Oh,
produce.
you say
We're
it
gonna
won't last long. You're buying into that whole story, hook, line, and sinker.
so it's a thing that's happened before. We had tariffs before, so I'm just saying it's a proven, like there's history behind it. It's not like, oh, there's a question mark. How does this work out?
And look
It
at what
works.
happened when we had tariffs, especially tariffs that were too high.
They
I'm
had to be
telling you, you need
adjusted.
to understand your history of economics and
There are 70 something countries
political
already
stuff.
lined up to make a deal right now because
Yeah,
of this.
you buy that hook, line, and sinker stuff.
So you're
You may
telling me
see
that
one of the
that's a lie?
things. Let me tell you something. The company that I bought my house from, we've had a boom in our economy here. In our not in our economy, we've had a boom in people moving to our area here. Okay, and they were slated to build another 5,000. I think it's 5,000 homes in the next few years. So the company that I bought my house from, which is French Brothers, the guy that does the warranty work, that's doing all this stupid stuff that got is broken in my house, came by yesterday and he told me, or Monday, and he told me that a number of people had been laid off from the company. And I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, the houses aren't selling." Well, why aren't the houses selling?
It's a bubble. They built too
No,
many
it's not a
houses.
bubble. It is not a bubble. It is people are freaking out and they're not buying houses right now because they don't know if they're going to have a job. There's economic insecurity going on right now. And you watch and see what happens. That's why you see Trump backtracking on a lot of this stuff because we are dangerously close to having some major issues.
We've
with all
had
this
major
trade war
issues
stuff.
for 50 years.
I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Mark my words.
It's
If we
true.
keep going down this path, we're going to have a lot of problems.
Did you think we were doing well before Trump got in?
I'm not going to say that we don't have issues because we do,
Okay, that's
but
all.
at least
That's
we had a
enough.
stable economy that was growing.
So you didn't think the printing of our dollar out into oblivion was going to catch
Yeah.
up to us at some point? Our fact that our birth rate is lower than replacement, which means Generation Z, Generation Alpha is going to have like 30 or 40,000 people in our boomers right now. There's like 80,000 or more, or million. I'm sorry, a million. Um, yeah, like there is a top. We're about to collapse just because of that alone. And if we want to get back to ethics, talking about
What are you
forcing
going to
women
do
to
to
have
have these babies born?
it does happen. I'm sorry, when survivability comes into hand, ethics and all of this hoo-ha kumbaya shit goes out the window, and there will be the countries will have to like incentivize and force babies to be made at times when they get to the point where they're about to collapse. It's happened before, and it will happen again if a like you're talking about this big collapse or whatever. And it's not been good, Kim. They're printing the dollar to the point where it's diluted like water. Like that's going to catch up to us. The debt, the national debt, you're going to tell me that was never going to catch up to us. The fact that Medicare and Medicaid is basically they just keep taking out of that money and they can't put enough back in to pay old people. That wasn't a Trump problem. That's been going on for a long time, and it's going to
Yeah.
collapse. So all these things he's doing are drastic, but that like it was either that or just watch us walk off the cliff either way. So I'm sorry, but whether or not you think he's doing a good job, it was already crashing. He jumped into a train that's already heading off the cliff. So these things that may seem drastic are about the only thing that someone could do is like whatever they were already whatever like the opposite of whatever was already happening is the only thing he can pretty much do. And I'm not saying he hasn't made plenty of mistakes. I can talk about him all day, but can we agree that there's also been a huge push from the powers that be against all this? And when you talk about the corruption that's been like combining, if you weigh his corruption versus hundreds of people in our government, like they have been against us for a long time. They call it the eagle of with or the two wings of the same bird and all that. Everyone has agreed since I can remember being even a little political that both sides have been working against us. So if we can all agree on that, then why wouldn't we want someone to come through? And even if he does break things up, sometimes you got to flip the table in order to reset the pieces. And that's what war usually does. If he can do it without war, I'm happy, because you know what, that has been consistently the thing in throughout history. That was the resetting the Etch a Sketch, a big ass war, boom, then everything gets reset. Like, and if we can maybe avoid that, cool. Trade war, I'm all for it if it keeps the blood from spilling, which it's not going to. But anyway, I get that everybody there's this like this, and it's a real thing where there's people that they might be, you might have all sorts of intelligence, but just that one thing is just, you just can't get past it. And I see it in many people, not just the ones on TV. But it's sad, man. It's sad that the media has, that they literally know how to brainwash us. It's not a question. Both sides are doing it, I'm sure, and they're probably working together on it. But they literally, I remember when Obama had a think tank to figure out how to influence crowds, basically how to how to brainwash crowds of people into doing things. And like literally, they're researching it to figure it out. And the commercials and the programming, like forever, we've been getting sucked in. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I don't know if Red 6 got booted.
We
But
change, and I'm glad he's laying a lot of stuff out on the table. He got rid of the dice, so it seems like he wants to try and do some good in his 4 years.
I mean, look, I'll call him out anytime I think it was a mistake or something. Look at Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. She's went out and said, "Oh, I got the Epstein list." She fucked up when she did that. when she said that she's got the Epstein files on her desk. She said it on Tucker, or maybe it was Sean Hannity, and she says this, and still nothing, crickets. They should have come out right away and said, yeah, that shit was gone a long time ago. We don't have any data on it. But instead, they've got all these people on the right pissed off about it. And let me tell you something: when you look at what a cult is, it is not having people within the group fighting amongst each other and having like differences of opinion on how things should go and which way things should like that's definitely the problem on the right, is that they do not work well together, because you have this more libertarian kind of mindset of I'll do what I want, you do what you want. That makes it less cohesive and less lockstep like you have. So there's problems there, but that is one of the things I like about it too, is having the diversity of thought. But right now, her doing that, and there's so many people on the right who are already very I'm not going to say anti-Semitic, because they explain the people that I've watched, multiple, who explain themselves very clearly, is they have criticisms of Israel, but then they end up getting labeled as anti-Semitic because of that. And I think you should be able to have criticisms of any country, but this is a rising sentiment where there are people that are pointing out all these things against Jewish people and against Israel, which then makes it seem like there's this sort of anti-Semitic uprise, but really it's just like this question as to why can't we criticize Israel without getting demonetized or banned or whatever? Like, this stuff is happening to these people. They can criticize America all day, but for some reason, so like that's a weird thing to me, but it is coming up, and that's kind of an issue on the right. And then add in the Epstein files not actually being a real thing, like that's never going to come. There's never going to be any real information on that, in my opinion. Anyway, it's
On Epstein?
Yeah, the Epstein files.
Well, no, there's too many people that have too much vested in staying hidden from. Donald Trump being one of them. That dude was on that island just as much as a bunch of other people. So
that's fine. All of his supporters are fine with finding that out. I'm not seeing many people on the other side that are fine with getting the information, though, which is the sad part. Like, let's hear it. Why not? Just like
it's just not evenly applied to things. The other thing that bothers me about some of that stuff was how they made a big thing about releasing the Kennedy files. And it's like nothing of any substance was really even released about that.
Right, a bunch of redacted files.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's up, Tyson? What do you think
about that?
But
it sure makes for good press. It sure makes him look a certain way.
Yeah, but they had to know
no backfire.
So he had to know it was going to backfire. I bet somebody probably. I doubt he can pay that close attention to everything. I don't think anybody could. I would be running around like a chicken with my head.
Presidents don't run this country. It's the political machine behind them that runs this country.
That's my point exactly. Someone told him, "Hey, we're going to release these files." Oh, cool. That's good. Okay. But he didn't there's no need to ask any further, I guess. It's all BS. Yeah, that's never coming out, right? I'll be up in a few. Bean says, okay, that's cool. I got the link should be in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I think I keep trying to relate this to ethics, because some people would want all things, truth to be exposed, no matter what. But other people, there's a term for this, but like when you have to keep something hidden from the public for safety purposes, aliens and such like that, where they're like, well, we can't tell the general public this information, otherwise they would have an uprising. And sometimes with the government, it's because there's people that are still alive. There's some kind of stipulation that if people are still alive within that case, that they can't release it or whatever. That's just bullshit. They just know that we forget about shit, or most people don't care about it after so many years pass. Just like Epstein, kids that are the kids that will be able to vote coming up in the midterms, they don't know shit about Epstein or any of that. They don't care about it. They don't care. James O'Keefe just released a video which people are criticizing because they say they already knew Prince Andrew. I don't want to get the Prince name wrong.
Prince Andrew.
supposedly doing pedophilic activity. And I guess a lot of people already knew this, but supposedly James O'Keefe came out with a better or more solid proof with a video about it or whatever, undercover video. And so that just came out, but it had to do with the Epstein files, I guess, supposedly. So I don't know how he got that out of it. It just sounds like a whole lot of smoke and mirrors, the whole thing. I don't think there's many people out there that would stand up for Hollywood or the elites, thinking that they don't do crazy shit. Hell, there's a whole theories on them like drinking babies' blood right out of their spine and all this shit like that. Rich old people drinking, getting injected with, baby blood and all this crazy shit. So if you think all that, then they're all out there doing. But it's funny
I
because
would doubt that people do that because there's some research out there where they've injected people with, I don't want to say that baby's blood, but it wouldn't be too far of a stretch
platelets.
to think that people were doing that.
Well, they do actually do some of that with real, like with legitimate procedures. Like you can go into Germany, and if you are a young person, like 20, you can get paid for to take. They take blood and they put it through I want to say it's a centrifuge type machine, and they get the platelets, and then they can inject that directly into you if you're an older person, and you have them do that, and it will make you feel like young again for like 30 days, or it was like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a real procedure, but that is I think that's the basis of the conspiracy theory, but I don't know.
Well, but the thing is it's not that far fetched because there's like how how people have silicone injections in their bodies, like to make their butts bigger or whatever.
Giant lips.
Yeah, and whatever. But there were people that were, if you go down because we're close to the border here of Mexico, you'd have people that would go over the border and get these procedures, and people were injecting them with freaking silicone right out of Home Depot kind of a thing, which is dangerous. So it's not that far fetched to think that that kind of stuff happens. And when you're very, very wealthy and you don't have, everything is at your disposal, then yeah, I could see people doing that because they're like, it's just like back in the old days, back in, like the 1500s, the Renaissance period and all that.
Bloodletting.
Well, not just bloodletting, but people used to drink gold. They would drink metals. And because it would supposedly keep you youthful. And, it's very not healthy for you. It causes all kinds of health problems.
You mean like Goldschlager? Remember some Goldschlager, Lisa May? Tastes like black licorice, I think.
Ugh.
If I'm not mistaken. Oh no, it's like pepperminty. That's right. But they had actual gold flakes inside there in the liquid. Now you can buy it, and there's something like little. It's not real gold, or maybe it is, but it's like these tiny little flakes inside there, and it's almost like a snow globe. But then you're drinking it.
Yeah.
Are you out of here? Or are you saying
no? I believe in the leaf cycle. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Leaf cycle. That's okay.
But people get their ideas about stuff. Somebody's always chasing the fountain of youth or
true.
Whatever, being beautiful or.
Do you think doctors that do plastic surgery are ethical? It's like, what do you want done? Done. Cut it off, tuck it in, pump it up. What do you want done? Like, I don't know. That's just like a chop shop to me, I feel like that's just totally unethical because they're gonna say, oh yeah, sure, we could do a little of this work. We could do a little of this. Oh, you want your bone shaved off here to make it look a little thinner, and just some wicked shit. There's some movies out like about that. And then you got this the drug companies. Man, we could talk about that all day about ethics. Look at this Ozempic shit with this lawsuit that people are. I think that people are dying from Ozempic, if I'm not mistaken. Joe says, I take methylene blue. Okay, that's a little controversial, Joe. I've heard some people that say not to, and I've heard other people that say it's great. Helps supply oxygen to your cells and gives you more energy. Do you notice a difference, Joe?
What is methylene blue? I've never
I
heard
just
of
bought a bottle of that today, actually. I
Gold.
think try
You did buy some? How much? What's the cost?
$30 for a 30 milliliter bottle.
Excuse me. Sorry, Bubba.
I know Joe Rogan's using it too.
Right. Yeah, I heard him talk pretty highly of it one day, but then I heard someone else say it's not good for your brain. Like, I don't know. Joe says absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, it was good for your brain, but it could cause like tachycardia and some other stuff when I researched it.
Well, that is the problem, isn't it, with our food industry and pharmaceuticals, is that sometimes when they create something, they don't know that it's bad for you until later, but then they're past the point of being able to stop, and so that's where the ethics come in. Like, well, we know this is harming people. Should we stop selling it? Hell no, they just sell it anyway.
Some of it they know. They say it may cause cancer, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, that's why I got into that conversation with Apothecary on X on her Sunday Space Holy Health. They had some experts on talking about autism, and basically a lot of the companies will change wording and use different names of things, and so that you don't see that word, just so it takes it. Oh, may cause, rubella and all these other terms. And they were listing some of it. I can't remember them. But that's a problem with our ingredients lists. They can change a little bit they can change a molecule in a chemical or a recipe or a formula, and boom, now it's legal again, whatever it was. Like, they do that with butane and stuff like that over in California, because California has laws on certain chemicals that can't be sprayed into the atmosphere. Well, if you change that chemical makeup just a little bit, it gets around the law, at least until they add it to the list or whatever. That's totally unethical, in my opinion. Diane says, only time plastic surgery is necessary. Oh yeah, there is time. Or you said only time it's necessary is when someone has a bad accident or in the war, gets hurt. Yeah, that's true. But I think the doctors who do that maybe at some point weren't able to make a living on just those situations. So they're like, well, how else can we apply this? Like, oh, movie stars and butt tucks and stuff like that.
butt tucks.
Butt tucks, yeah. Injected right into the jugular. Well, listen, guys, I'm getting everybody who comments on the wheel for a door prize.
I don't know.
Got,
I think that some people go overboard with plastic surgery, like Michael
Sure.
Jackson, like destroyed his face, and there's other people that have done stuff that just, I don't know.
It's called body
I think it's
dysmorphia,
too
right?
much. Yeah.
Body dysmorphia.
I think, I don't know. There has to be a way to draw the line, and I think that they're kind of put a stop to a lot of that in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years.
I don't know. I think
Probably not. He talks.
Well,
you're getting it.
I've said this a long time, is that when we have prosthetic limbs that are better than human limbs, people with perfectly functioning limbs will pay to have them replaced. And that goes with any, organs or parts of your body. Although maybe not your sexual organs. I don't know how you could replace those effectively, but Bean, I can't get the link to take me to the... No, just copy the link and then go to the app with it. Unless I can click it in my phone notifications. Well, I'll put I'll send it to your Facebook Messenger, but you shouldn't have to do that. Just click and copy the link, and then go to the Rumble Studios app.
Yeah, but people that do stuff like that, there's something wrong with them mentally, I think. They have some kind of a mental disorder.
Mhm.
To me,
I
it's
think
kind of along the lines of like people that have anorexia or bulimia kind of a thing. They have, I don't know, something wrong with their self image or whatever.
yeah.
You don't know
Or
where to
they're
paste it
trying
in the
to,
app.
it's about control, which is what bulimia and anorexia are about control. But
A lot of
Uh,
it's probably about their self-esteem.
hmm
well, but that's the problem, is that you have people that will play into that and tell people that that's okay when it comes to um, all sorts of things, like parents telling, look, as an adult, go get your wiener chopped off, fine, no problem, you do that. But with the kids, I mean, I don't know if it's cliche at this point, but I don't think kids can make those decisions personally. We can argue about that all day long if you don't agree, but a child, um, being coerced by a parent because they want the accolades and they want and we know parents do this. It is not a far fetched thing when you look at these beauty pageants and the behind the scenes videos of those, where the moms are like forcing the kids to go through these different things and be, little movie stars and all that. I mean, it's like living vicariously. I don't think cuts it. It's something about like it might be control with that in that respect too, Kim. You said about control, like parents, you know, sometimes will overly control their kids.
yeah, well, a lot of times for some parents, kids are an extension of themselves. You see these parents that just demand that their kid's going to be in a particular sport.
Uh,
It is living vicariously through your kids, but it's also, I don't know, there's like this, I don't know.
it becomes pretty intense. I went to
Same
school with
time, you
a
gotta
guy.
let them be their self.
Right, I went to school with this kid, Jimmy Kim. He was super good at wrestling, and because his dad was like pushing him so hard, like doing all these extra, he would do like double practices. He would have to practice during lunch at school and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get it. That's how you become great or whatever. But I don't know. It doesn't seem
Well, the kid doesn't
ethical.
have a childhood.
Yeah,
Rob
I'm
them
sure
of
he.
their ability to have a childhood because you're structuring their life for them. Like my son, I had my son in all kinds of sports, throughout his childhood. And but I never like made him do one particular sport or the other. I just wanted him, he's a very kinesthetic kid, and he needed an outlet for his energy and stuff, and I wanted it to be a healthy outlet. And sports is a healthy, way for that to happen. So, and in child, up until you get to middle and high school, there aren't like a lot of, well, even in middle school, there aren't a lot of activities, structured activities for kids, um, until you get into high school. So, but once he got into high school, he didn't care for playing football for, for the local high school. He didn't care about any of that stuff. He enjoyed playing football, but he didn't want to play it for the school, because, those people live the sport, and he just wasn't like that. But he still played, he still played basketball. He still did things, but he was also in Future Farmers of America and the art club. And, he had a broad experience of activities that he also enjoyed, you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
let my son choose what he wanted to do. He did football, basketball, wrestling. He even tried martial arts. That wasn't his thing though. He did it like a couple times and
I'm actually doing the opposite. I always thought that I'd like get my son into like skateboarding and like he'd be following in my footsteps. And like when my son picked up a scooter, I was kind of disappointed. And like we always made fun of the scooter kids, and like that was like it was like looked down upon. And then I started seeing these scooter kids and like the insane tricks that they do, and like my son's like really into it. Like
The
that's,
little
like,
scooter, like the skinny one.
yeah, like the trick scooters.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like really into it though, and he's like good at it. Like he puts himself in like harm's way like a lot. Like, but he's like lands these tricks and stuff. And I found myself just last night looking at adult size trick scooters so that like I could get out and do it with him. Like instead of like pulling him into the stuff that I do, like me go and entertain the things that he does. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they actually. I can speak from my perspective with my son. He just lights up when I want to do what he wants to do. You know.
Yeah.
Like whether that's me going in his room while he's drawing on the board, or we read together and stuff. Like,
yeah, I thought it was really cool. We were playing on the VR the other day, and one of his friends joined into one of the games we were playing, and he yelled out to me. He's like, "Hey, Dad, come look at this!" And his friend was like, "Oh, cool! You got your dad to play with you?" And like he felt like on top of the world. Like
yeah, man, it's my dad playing with us. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, and I guess with that same vein, technology, people will say, don't raise your kid using TV or whatever. And there, I think there's a fine line there, or like they'll say like, don't use the TV as a babysitter kind of thing. And look, I am not just staring at my son the entire time he's with me at home. Like, there are times when he's watching TV and I am working somewhere else in the house. Like, I am not using the TV as a babysitter, but, he's keeping occupied by playing on the Nintendo Switch or whatever. But I do try to monitor what he gets fit, like the intake of information. What's up, Mike?
What's going on?
Oh, man, we're just, all over the place tonight. This is a pretty broad topic, ethics,
is it just me, or is the music a little loud?
yeah.
Well, you guys got to tell me anytime you think that, because I hear a different audio on my side.
I can hear music.
You can't even hear it, Mikey? See, it's I think it depends on if you're on a phone or not. Elise, are you on the computer?
No.
It might just be mine because the volume completely changed when I got on here compared to when I was listening.
Hmm.
No, I got it was a tad bit loud. I can still hear you, but
I just
the
want
music's
some kind
like
of
over
noise. Yeah, I just want something in the back. All good. Oh yeah, I brain farted. But yeah, so what do you guys think the most unethical thing, the most unethical practice we see nowadays? Is it medical industry? Is it pharmaceuticals? Is it the Hollywood? Is it political? Is it?
Why do you have to say which is worse? They're all bad because they try.
I'm just starting conversation here.
No,
I mean, I don't know.
It's predatory. Predatory things are predatory. They all create victims.
Did we pull up the definition of ethics yet?
We did. We're an hour and a half in. We've already kind of almost burned it out. Honestly.
Do I got ethics?
By all means, please bring
Unethical.
something up. Anything, Mikey or Bean. You can say anything you like. Steph, I'm going to put you on the wheel.
I think like the medical industry, when you're with not just to point out the medical industry, I think the insurance industry is one of the most unethical industries when you're playing with people's lives and like.
they're all tied together though. The medical, the
That's true.
pharmaceutical, and the insurance company. It's like they all work for each other. Their money's all in the stocks and the pharmaceuticals and
Yeah.
You know who has the, you
one
know who
big
has them by the balls though? Is the legal.
The government.
Yeah, is I don't know, legality or the judicial.
The legality of it, yeah. Because if the government won't approve it, what's the point in them making it? So they're going to butter the pockets of that senator or whatever to get it on. Hey, it's FDA approved.
Yeah. Every time I talk about the stuff that I'm going through with like workers' comp and stuff, and like my mom and them ask me why I'm getting so screwed, I'm like, I live in the state with the most doctors and the most lawyers. Why am I getting so screwed? You tell me. Like, you think I'm gonna get one over on anybody in the state with the most doctors and the most lawyers? Like, no.
Nah.
They've designed this state for them to get over on us. Like,
And I know it's kicking a dead mule, but man, I tell you, that's why they will never be a cure for cancer. Because when you go to Carti, which I get to go to Carti quite often here with Grandpa.
Go Monday.
I go Monday again, yeah. When you have to put a parking deck just for a small building because you have so many customers there at one time, that between insurance, between out of pocket, between whatever, the pills, the medicine, and everything, they're all tied together. They're spending $100,000s of dollars a year. Tell me what doctor's going to lose that?
So
They're not.
I want to put this in perspective because I think everything, like Elisa said, everything connects to power, and those that will wield it and those that don't, or that don't seek it. And people that have power over you, you will have a percentage of those people that will wield it, like police, like doctors, like anybody, parents. Like you're raising little employees basically when you have kids.
HOAs.
Yeah. And the
I'm
ethics,
thinking about it.
it's almost like the history is written by the victors, right? Ethics is written by whoever has the power to implement them. And that's where we get our Bill of rights.
That's the whole thing with these presidency races and all this bullshit is who's got the most money to back their race and can do this and can do that, but who's blowing the most smoke in your ass is all it is.
I would say I agree with it, blowing smoke in your ass, but they had a good example of how money isn't everything in elections because Mayor Bloomberg, he put in a lot of money trying to I think it was president race when this last run, or no, it was when Biden won supposedly. But yeah, he put in the most money, I think, more than anybody else, and still lost. He's just a tool. He had no charisma.
You still have to put the money in the right places. You can't just throw money in the air and hope to win.
Oh, I agree.
I'm paid for.
Like, look at Kamala. She spent millions hiring Beyonce and Justin Timberlake and all these celebrities to go sing at her thing.
Right. It wasn't a Beyonce. It was only there for like a short time, and everybody was pissed about it.
Pick up her check and leave.
Well, and if you want to compare them to Trump and say why did he do better with less money? It's because he got a lot of free publicity by controlling the news cycle, whether they were mad at him or whether he was doing something. He would always try to control it and have himself in the headline, which is enough to sway things. And so this day and age, man, fifth generational warfare. That's propaganda and information and the internet. That's what everybody's doing, man. I don't know. Like, is it ethical that we have 3 companies that actually own each other, but also own like every other company, like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street? Like, does anything matter when we have like one group of people that own almost all businesses, except for small businesses? Shouts out to small businesses out there. Buy local, but then small businesses have to buy materials and products from where? manufacturers, and they're owned by
Big company.
So unless you go to things like, we have this thing called a Spoon River Drive. You ever been on that, Elisa May?
Mm-mm.
No, the Spoon River Drive. It's twice a year, and it's this long drive through Illinois on this like old I think Route 66, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's a different highway, but like all these little towns along this highway will have like festivals and fairs and like yard sales and garage sales, and you go down there, you're gonna find like these different areas where you'll have Native Americans set up. The last time I went, they actually had teepees set up and everything, and they were selling like handmade goods. That stuff isn't from like some manufacturer somewhere. You know what I mean? Handmade stuff is a little.
They had that up in Lancaster County when I was just this last week when I was in Pennsylvania. I drove through it.
Like a big sale kind of.
Like a handmade festival, yeah.
I love going anywhere where the Amish is and they have an Amish store. I love buying Amish goods.
You know, the Amish made this like this magic machine. It doesn't run on electricity, but like it like produces heat. It's like this fireplace that produces heat. You don't plug it in, but somehow it produces. I don't know how it works, but my mom has one. It's weird.
Electric or a what do they call it? A non-electric heater.
Yeah, like it blows air out the bottom of it, but like I'm gonna have to open it up next time I'm up there, see what it's actually doing inside there.
Yeah, because man, all I can think of is a fucking Keebler elf down in there somewhere, blowing, smoking a blunt and blowing the smoke out at you. Froze, Diane? I don't think so. Are we frozen for everybody else? It might be the Rumble app. You'll just have to leave and come back. All right, we do.
Unplug it and plug it back in.
I think I might have an ad to read. I might have to refresh my screen though. Well, I do. Let's read it real quick. Well, I did read this one already, so I will. Oh no, this is a new one again. Okay. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check. The smooth medium roast and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxic free and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, "I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch." $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours are for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fruit fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Start your day with a coffee that actually backs your belief. I can still hear the music the whole time too. I had this like epic music going while I'm reading that.
Get yours today.
Hey, for some reason it's changed, but I did make 46 cents right there, guys. So anyone up here on the screen, if you want to cut, you let me know. We'll make it happen. I'll give you a piece. I'll give you all a piece.
8 cents.
It actually it goes up for how many people are in here. So imagine all those, insane, all the insanity that we've gone through in the last 2 years on Facebook, where it's just like, like and share for this giveaway. We need 150 people in here. If I was able to do that now, that one ad would have made like $20 or something. You know what I mean? And my idea with that is that we could give that, like, take half of it and do a giveaway for the show. Like, hey guys, if we get 50 people in here and I do this ad read, I'll give half of it away to somebody, and like I could easily make that a thing. I just have to make it a thing. Anyway, let me pull this wheel up. I got everybody I think is on here. Steph is the last person I added.
Steph, I didn't see Steph. She on Facebook.
Yeah, you can't see the comments on Facebook unless I'm live on my profile. For some reason, it does that. But oh well, they'll fix it. Just like on X, I'm live on X right now, but you can't comment unless you're a paid verified person, and that's a glitch. I just can't fix it. I have no way to fix it.
Yeah.
One day they'll fix it, but it's all right. All right.
Well, I don't know.
Huh?
I've been kicking around the idea of putting in for this membership on this Rumble, getting me one of these.
If you like some of the other bigger creators on there, they all have to do the same thing as I do, which is at least 5 hours a month on what they call Rumble Premium, and you can't watch those shows unless you pay. So it would be worth it for more than just me. I do have to do 5 hours myself, which is going to be just me talking to the screen, but that's all right. There might be some people that I don't know happen to pop through. I have to do the 5 hours. I'll do it. Mikey, you might be the only one watching. I pay $10 a month for the basic membership on Rumble.
Yeah.
It's not bad to use Rumble Studios and not pay for
Is
StreamYard.
that
Yeah.
Is that
I don't know how to
$100?
get into. I don't know how to get into here through Rumble Studios without the notification. Like on the notification, it gives me an option to click it and get right to the studio. But other than that, I don't see a way to do
Did
it.
you download the Studio app?
Yeah, I have the app.
You did?
Like,
Because it just puts me in there right
when I
away.
click the link, it takes me to a screen that it says download the app, but I already have the app. Like if I click the button, it takes me to the like my Google store, and then it's open, and then it takes me to the studio, but I'm not in the right place to join the live. And then if I copy the link, I don't know where to paste it.
Brenda said she had the same issue, and she said that she copied it and pasted it, and there's an address bar up top, she said, but that might just be, she might have been talking about on a computer and not the app itself.
Oh yeah.
Let me share this in differently. Mike, you use a computer though, don't you? I've never. So
Yeah.
I went live today from the phone on the studio, but that was just
Yes.
directly using my phone. So I started it and everything on my phone.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to. I've not been on the receiving end of the link yet. Y'all froze up again?
Yeah, I use.
Diane, we're not froze up. I
I
just went to. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I use the laptop.
Google store.
So we're looking good to me over here. Yeah, everything's playing on the website, but maybe your phone. I get the phone app will freeze up for me too sometimes. It was there today, Brenda said. I was there today. Might be missing something there. That's right. All right, good luck, guys. This is for the door prize. You do have to be here to win. Well, stay back over here, mister. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being able to just give some cash up once we get to that point. It'd be great. Although you can't do that very much, honestly. You're not supposed to just, I don't know about ethics wise, but legally you can't just give cash up. People do it, but once you get to a certain size, it's I think it's a certain amount of cash.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Elisa May, oh no, it might go to Tyson, or maybe all the way to Margaret. Tyson,
Jump
are you
too
in the
soon.
house? Tyson Chandler, are you still here? What's up, Elisa?
Oh, I said congrats.
We'll give him.
Jump the gun.
I'll give him until 9:47, and then I have to do the spin for locals members. We're going to play Farkle again next week. If you like dice games, I'm looking for a player against Miss Brenda. She's won 2 weeks in a row. Bean, if you're bored and you want to play some dice, you ever played 10,000 or Farkle?
I play that on my phone.
It's a fun on your phone. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that. I'm rolling real dice, although they're foam dice, so they're not exactly real. All right, Tyson. Okay, I have to roll it again. Actually, there's a long delay, so I'm going to give him a little bit longer.
Is there a long delay on Rumble? I thought it was pretty quick.
It depends on the app, but last few times I've done this, it was not. How do I put this?
You want to time it?
No, it's already past the time now. But basically, we would time it, but by the time the minute was up, they had only had like 20 or 30 seconds to respond, and they'd be like, "Well, we're here. I'm here," or whatever. It happened a couple times this week.
When I talk to you when I'm on Facebook, you don't ever respond. When I come over to Rumble, you're like responding like that.
Well, I can't even see the Facebook comments unless I'm looking at a separate screen, which is annoying.
10 seconds ago, I put the dancing nanner on there.
Brenda says, "Come play, Bean." Well, that's up to Bean. Are you back at work?
No, not yet.
How's that going? Doing all right? Recovering in some way?
Yeah, I just got scheduled for some pain management. So, probably going to get some injections in my back and my neck.
You got to say it the other way around, though.
A little scary.
Oh, that's Mikey. I was like, who's that? Kim,
What?
you won.
What I
Congrats.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Well, I don't keep up with everybody, so if you're still a subscriber, that's an Indoor Farmer coupon. But if not, you get to play in game night if you want. It's up to you. No big deal.
You mean game morning?
I'm just gonna say that.
It's the Indoor Farmer game night all day. That's the way that we say it. Last week it actually lived up to its title of like 4.5 hours because we couldn't find anyone to play against Brenda. So I would really like to find someone today for Sunday. But then the problem is you have to remember that you said you want to that you'd play, and then you have to show up. Those are the two stipulations for it. But congrats, Kim. Okay, let's do the number spin. Where'd Bean drop off to? Oh, there, he's down there. Oh, it doesn't show us all on the screen. That's weird. Huh. Let's see what happens with this. What the heck happened? Oh,
Got a new drink for 4 of us.
that's dumb. That's dumb. What? Why is this doing this to me? All right. I need to.
I'm
find
hearing
the
this
number.
music. My dog's going crazy, so.
I think my dog's gone crazy. Okay. So we had Kim, Diane, and William all won this week so far. 6, 8, and 4.
I nearly hit an owl last night coming home.
Who?
I nearly hit an owl coming
Who?
home last night.
Who? Sorry, I was.
Shut up.
Hey,
My brother-in-law, my sister that died, her husband was in town this week for a funeral, so we went and had dinner. And I was coming home about 9 o'clock, and there was an owl in the road. I think it was eating something dead on the road, and I didn't see it. And all of a sudden, man, it flew up in front of me. It scared the hell out of me.
Did it ask you how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
No,
And he's like, how many licks does it take till you get to the center of it? Oh.
I'm just glad I didn't hit it.
Yeah, that would be weird. Of all things to hit, you know. I
Well, I
remember
don't like hitting any animal.
in Iraq, there were bats at nighttime, but you couldn't see them because there's very little, you know, it's like low light, and people would throw rocks in the air. You throw a rock up in the air, and you could hear the bats dive at it and hit the rock. 10.
They dive. You could hear them diving at it.
Yeah, because there are certain kind of bat. I forget what it was, but they hunt at night where they swoop down and get bugs, and if you toss a rock up in the right way, yeah. Anyway,
All bats hunt at night.
yeah, but this is, I mean, just happened to be that situation. Maybe they all chase rocks. I don't know, but this one was doing it. They're this type. You could hear them kind of swirling around. You couldn't see them. Okay, number 10 was Ronald Blackwell. Feel free to tag if you want to, Margaret. Otherwise, no worries. But I think we're going to roll out of here. I'm going to head over to locals. No one has to go with me, but we got some Kill Tony to watch, and want to do some more direct in camera dabbage. I try to keep it conservative while I am on the public domain. Not that it helps, but we do have 23 awesome people in here. What do we got? 7 minutes, and I could read another ad. Ooh, that's tempting. That is tempting.
I figure say if you want me to hang out another 7 minutes, I will. But I'm on fixing to hop off here, and if not,
hang out a few more minutes. We got 24. We only need one more person.
Hey, right on, brother.
One more person on the Facebook or Rumble, and we can read an ad in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. It's an ad for Rumble Premium, Mike, so maybe it'll tell you what you get from it, or why it's worth it, or whatever. I don't know what they have in there. I've read it once or twice. I still never got to read the naked ad, or whatever it was called, naked something. Now they've got some other ones. Ooh, 50 people in here. I can read an NBA 2K25 by 2K Sports. A whole bunch of those.
You know how you could probably get a lot of followers? Speaking of naked, become a naked gardener.
You haven't signed up for my Only Plants account?
No.
Yeah, well, maybe, but look, I already lean too heavily into my boyish good looks and my chameleon-like eyes. You know, I don't need to lean too much further. I actually tried that. I did shirtless yoga with the ladies outside. That wasn't blowing up. Trust me on that. Today I did a 4-hour live stream just for the hell of it while I was getting work done around my house. I was doing laundry and I was doing dishes, and then I did some squats for a little while I was live, just to get some extra time in on the Rumble. What do we got? 5 minutes exactly. Let's go.
Yeah,
we need
market it naked gardening. I bet you something would go on because sex sells.
Yeah, but I'm not tall enough. I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
You don't even have to do the naked garden.
Shirtless gardening.
You just thirst trap. You don't even have to do the naked gardening. Just title it naked gardening.
Yeah, that's true. But then I feel like Dabber.
Because, I don't know, not that I have any experience with this or anything, but I've just heard that, I guess it probably on OnlyFans is probably where it happens, but where people pay to watch fat people do things.
Fat people do fat things?
No, not that things like have sexual stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I resemble that remark.
People have fetishes.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You know, I've lived in this house since November, the end of October of last year, and I still have nothing hung on my walls.
You don't plan on staying long? Whoop. She gone. She really didn't plan on staying long, huh?
It booped me. They didn't like me talking about naked gardening, sexual fetishes, I guess. I don't know.
I'm a big fan of naked gardening, but it's just me and Grandpa likes to get out there and garden with my wife, and that's not fair to either one of us.
I wouldn't naked garden. Shit, I sunburn. I got the worst sunburn of my life. Well, I shouldn't say that, but a really bad sunburn a couple of weeks ago on my shoulders. I can't imagine having my lady bits burnt like
Shit,
that.
I get on that tractor. I just love getting sunburn on that tractor because I run around. It takes me about 2 days, and that sunburn's gone, and I'll tan the rest of the year. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I'm a natural redhead, so that ain't what happens on me.
Ginger, yeah, I get. Yeah, my wife's second husband. He's a redhead, and boy, he can't be out there nothing for anything.
Me?
Yeah, I burn and peel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've had
It
skin
wasn't
cancer
working.
cut off already, so
You know what? Something that women don't understand until they go to a nude beach is sunburnt nipples. Like, wait, you don't think about that until, or if you're a nudist, like sunburnt wee wee.
Wee wee.
That'd be fucked up, wouldn't it?
That wouldn't be
I
fun at
have-
all. Have
I
that
have-
skin peeling.
Yeah, I have sunburnt my nipples on the tractor
Okay.
one time.
Like a banana peeling. Oh no! Oh no!
You get
All right.
snake shedding its skin.
yeah, I was just
Oh my
gonna say
god.
the anaconda.
Hey, well, you got to. I mean, it depends on your origin if you get the peel and anaconda or something.
Yeah, if it's an anaconda or a garter snake.
More like grub worms. Oh, puppy.
Oh my god, my cat was laying on the couch, and I don't know what the hell happened, but he like just leaped up in the air from his laying position. It was like I looked over just in time to see him go, whoa, like that. Isn't that a Baxter? Who was
You
it?
guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Yep.
My mic kept messing up, so I just switched it.
That's
Shit, I had something funny too, and I can't remember it. Oh yeah, I was like, what if you just it was natural to shed a skin every now and then from it. It's like, oh, it's molting season.
Well,
Although, you know what? To
we
bring
do
it back to the topic,
skin.
well, to bring it back to the topic, there was a little boy that I don't know if he passed away or not, but from a circumcision wound, a little too deep, too much, and like, you know, a lot of blood in there and stuff, and it was not good. Oh man, we just hit our number. I'm sorry, guys. Come back. There was 5 people in here, and they left after us talking about that. But no, but seriously, the ethics behind circumcision, it's a religious practice. I asked why I saw the story, and I was like, well, I don't know. Do we need to do this anymore? Like, is it? Can't we just teach the hygiene of it? You know.
Well, what about them poor innocent kids born without eyelids?
Without eyelids?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. That's 2 different things. They were born that way. I'm talking about the practice of us cutting off the tip of a baby's penis for
Yeah,
religious
but that's
reasons.
the foreskin. They use that foreskin for the eyelids.
Oh, got me with that one, man. I wasn't like, where's he going with this?
That's a true dickhead right there.
And speaking of, let's go ahead and read this ad so we can get out of here. All right, this sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have bias. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversations or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. I saw that episode. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much from it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase on an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are just as happy if you watch us on Rumble. Now, I will add to this that you will get exclusive content, not only from me. I do have to do at least 5 hours, so obviously I have to do some. But you get it from a lot of really big creators out there, people from all different angles of the spectrum, as far as whether it's political or not. And you have those options of following some of these guys and checking out their exclusive content. So there it is. Cool. We almost made $1 today. Hey, I'll take it.
Hey,
I'll tell you what, guys, I appreciate it. What's up?
I said, $1 a buck.
Yeah, I mean,
Moving
it was.
on.
Yeah, sometimes they offer more than other times. I don't know, but this time, 38 cents for the one I just read, 46 cents for the one before it. I try to be transparent. All right, let's get out of here. I could still hear the music this whole time too. I forgot it wasn't shared in, but okay, now it's
What
off.
music?
Yeah, well, I had it playing on my side, and it was just in my head, like I had all this noise. Anyway, Mike, thanks for coming up. What's that? Yeah, that's why
I said, Bainsley's using his head. Look at him.
It makes me think that everybody could hear it. You know, he's just over there.
I can't hear it. I ain't face out. It's good being up here, man.
Thanks, man. You have a good one. Kim, thanks again. And Bean, thanks for coming up. We'll see you all Sunday. I'll probably do some random live streams in between. And I'm going to go over to Locals right now to do a little unwinding, watch a little Kill Tony. It's my Friday night. We're going to have fun. I don't have my son tonight. Let's have some fun. Kim, till next week. Next week will probably be the current events weekend or week. We'll see you all then. Peace, guys.
Remember, talk about the Pope.
We could. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we've missed in the last few weeks. We could probably pull up. We could talk about the dire wolves too. We didn't really get into that. See where that story has gone since then. But yeah, guys, remember everybody's got to eat, and we need each other to do it. That's what this show's about. So we'll see you later. Peace.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer, check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm Waylon the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the